Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Today I am going to present the topic Soil and Climate. Before presentation I would like to introduce myself. I am Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. I have completed M.Sc Agriculture with a specialization in Agronomy from Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar in 1996. So let's proceed to the presentation Soil and Climate. What is soil? Soil is a thin layer of earth crust which serves as natural medium for growth of plants. Rocks are the important sources for parent material over which soils are developed. The upper layer of the soil is providing the nutrients to the crop which is required for their growth and development. As soil is concerned, soil is an important matter for cultivation of crops. This is the primary requirement. Soil supplies all the important factors for the growth of crop plants. The yielding potential is largely dependent on the soil in which the crops are grown, and it is based on fertility status of the soil. The type and properties of soil directly affect the crop growth and yield. Hence, management and conservation of soil should be done with interest. Now to study the functions of soil. As functions is concerned, first one is soil provides anchorage for plant growth and development. Soil helps the crop to stand erect by providing support to the roots. Second, act as a reservoir for water and nutrients. Root takes the water from soil which is utilized in photosynthetic activities. All the important 13 nutrients are taken from the soil. And third, soil serves as a medium for water and air circulation. Soil is balancing the pore spaces by which the capillary actions and water movements are there, and it is reached to the roots. After that, fourth, soil provides a space for beneficial microorganisms. Microorganisms in soil performs different functions like nitrogen fixation, phosphate and sulfur solubilization, and decomposition of organic matter. Soil physical properties, which is also known as mechanical behavior of soil. Physical property of a soil greatly influence its use and behavior towards plant growth. The plant support, root penetration, drainage, aeration, retention of moisture, and plant nutrients are linked with the physical condition of the soil. Physical properties also influence the chemical and biological behavior of soil. The physical properties of a soil depend on the amount, size, space, arrangement, and mineral composition of its particles. These properties also depend on organic matter content and pore spaces available in soil. There are different physical properties of soils, out of which some important physical properties like soil texture, soil structure, soil density, soil porosity, soil color, soil consistency, soil water, soil temperature, soil depth and land slope are playing important role for the growth and development of crops. Soil environment is categorized in three types like physical environment, chemical environment and biological environment. As physical environment is concerned, it refers to the soil morphology, soil structure, soil texture, water holding capacity, aeration, porosity and stress or resistance. And chemical environment refers to nutrient availability status of soil, presence of minerals, organic matter, pH level, acidity, salinity and sodity, etc. And biological environment refers to the microorganisms presence in soil and microbial activities. Now we will study soil fertility and soil productivity. What is soil fertility? Soil fertility is the status or inherent capacity of the soil to supply nutrients to the plants in adequate amount and in suitable proportions. According to modern uses, soil fertility is the capacity of the soil to produce crops of economic value to maintain health of the soil without deterioration. Means soil fertility is the inherent capacity. Then soil productivity. Soil productivity is the capacity of the soil to produce crops with specific systems of management, and it is expressed in terms of yields. All productive soils are fertile, but all fertile soils need not be productive. Here to study the characteristics of ideal soil for crop production. It can be described as, first one, the soil should be well aerated. If the soil is well pulverized and aerated, it will provide the better root development and establishment, and additionally there will be good water movement to the soil and nutrient availability to the crop plants. Second is the pH of soil should be in between 6 to 8, because this is the most preferable soil condition which is suitable to all crops, and the crop growth and development will be very good. Third is good water holding capacity. It will help to preserve moisture for longer period to avail water conditions to the crop plants. And fourth, well drainage of excess water. The soil should be labeled, well prepared, and the drainage facilities should be there, because if there is excess water stagnation or water logging conditions, the crop development will be badly affected. And fifth, good amount of organic matter, because organic decomposition will provide the nutrients to the crop plant which is rich. Then sixth, the good amount of nutrient availability. Soil should be fertile with rich nutrients which will provide the favorable growing conditions for the crop plants. And seventh, the soil should be free from soil-borne diseases and pests. So whatever the crop residue are there, we should remove out, and the field should be clean and it should be well incorporated in the soil. Then eighth, deep, friable and well textured soil, because it will provide the favorable growing condition to the crop. Formation of soil. Soil is formed from the rocks by the process called weathering of rocks and by different pedogenic processes. The properties of a soil are dependent on the rocks from which it is formed, climatic conditions, organisms, and time. The study of soil profile gives us knowledge about its formation and quality. As soil formation is concerned, there are different horizons in soil like O horizon, A horizon, B horizon, C horizon and R horizon, and different horizons are having their different roles. And upper layer is maximum providing the support to the crop growth and nutrients supplications. Now we will study about soil types. Soil types are classified according to many more factors. They are classified on the basis of color, depth, pH, productivity, texture and process of formation. Soil types according to depth are described in three categories. First one is shallow soil, where the soil depth is less than 22.5 centimeters. In such soils, only shallow rooted crops are grown, such as paddy and nagli. In case of paddy, we are going for puddling activities, which is a method of loosening the soil in water stagnation conditions, and because of this the soil becomes loose and paddy roots are developing and establishing well. Second is medium deep soils, where the soil depth is 22.5 centimeters to 45 centimeters. Crops with medium deep roots are grown in these soils like sugarcane, banana and gram. Third is deep soils, where the soil depth is more than 45 centimeters. Crops with long and deep roots are grown in this type of soils like mango, coconut and orchard crops. Now we will study about major soils of India. These are categorized in different types. Like first one is alluvial soils, which comes under category of inti soils, incepti soils and alphi soils. Second is black soils, which comes under vertisols. Third is red soils under category alphi soils. Then fourth is laterite soils, which are coming under alti soils. Then fifth, desert soils, which are aridity soils. Then sixth, forest and mountain soils. Seventh is tarai soils. Eighth, peaty and organic marshy soils. And ninth, problem soils, which are known as saline, sodic, alkali and acidic soils. Alluvial soils. These soils occur along rivers and represent the soil material that have been deposited by the rivers during flood. Usually they are very productive soils, but many are deficient in nitrogen, humus and phosphorus. Black soils. These soils are mostly clay soils and form deep cracks during dry season. An accumulation of lime is generally noticed of varying depth. These soils are popularly known as black cotton soils because of their dark brown color and suitability for cotton growing. These are also known as Indian riggers. Black soils are derivatives of trap lava and are spread mostly across interior Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh on the Deccan lava plateau and the Malwa plateau, where there is both moderate rainfall and underlying basaltic rock. These soils are deficient in nitrogen, phosphoric acid and organic matter, but these soils are rich in calcium, potash and magnesium. Red soils. Generally these soils are light textured with porous and friable structure, and there is absence of lime conker and free carbonates. They have neutral to acidic reaction, and these soils are deficient in nitrogen, humus, phosphoric acid and lime. Red soils are broadly divided in two classes. First one is red loam with clodious structure and allow content of concretionary materials, and second, red earths with loose permeable topsoil and a high content of secondary concretions. Laterites and lateritic soils. These soils are red to reddish yellow in color and low in nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, lime and magnesium. These soils are formed in situ under conditions of high rainfall with alternate dry and wet periods. On account of heavy rainfall, there is an excessive leaching of soil colloids and silica, hence the soils are porous nature. Desert soils. These are mostly sandy soils that occur in the low rainfall tract. They are well supplied with soluble salts, but these are low in nitrogen and organic matter content, and these soils are having high pH value. These are quite productive soils and are often subjected to wind erosion. Then forest and hill soils. These soils occur at high elevations as well as at low elevations where the rainfall is sufficient to support trees. These soils are very shallow, steep, stony and infertile for the production of field crops. However, they serve a very useful purpose by supplying forest products such as timber and fuel. Now tarai soils. Tarai soils are derived from the materials washed down by the erosion of mountains, which are coming under alluvial origin. These soils are having hard clay, coarse sand and gravel, which are the parent material. Then second, relatively high moisture content for the greater part of the year, which result in luxuriant vegetation. These are having the high organic matter content, sandy loam to silty loam in texture, and these soils are suitable for tall grasses crops. Peaty and marshy soils. These type of soils are found in Kerala, coastal tract of Odisha, Sundarban area of West Bengal. When the vegetation growing in such wet places dies, it decomposes very slowly due to excessive wetness of soils, and after several hundreds of years a layer of partially decayed organic matter accumulates on the surface, giving rise to such peaty and marshy soils. These soils are black colored, heavy and highly acidic soils. When properly drained and fertilized, these soils becomes productive and we can grow the rice crop. Problematic soils, saline and alkaline soils. These soils occur in areas having a little more rainfall than the areas of desert soils. They show white incrustation of salts of calcium and magnesium and sodium on the surface. And these soils are poor in drainage and these soils are generally infertile. Here we have shown the Indian map which is representing the soil distribution across the country. Now we will study about soil improvement. There are many types of problem soils and we have to improve those soils. If we are able to amend them, we can brought them under cultivation area and increase the production. The soils with acidic or basic reactions, soils with poor drainage, soil with low water holding capacity, salt affected soils and soils with pathogens are known as problem soils. Such soils have bad effect on crop growth and plants show deficiency of different nutrients. Steps for improvement of problem soils. First one is bunding and leveling. The soil should be leveled properly and provided with strong bunds along with field boundary. It will help to stop the erosion losses and movement of nutrients from the field to outside through water movement or flooding or runoff losses. Second is provision of irrigation water. Sufficient salt-free water should be made available. If we are providing the good water, it will improve the situation and the salt will go under layers because of leaching process and the nutrients will be available to the crops and slowly there will be improvement records in the situation. Third, drainage. Provision of adequate drainage is essential. Proper surface and subsurface drainage is important factor in soil improvement. And fourth, application of amendments. Gypsum is the standard amendment for alkaline soils. For acid soils, calcium carbonate is applied as amendment. And fifth, leaching. Leaching means removal of soluble salts from the root zone. So, if we are following such a strategy to remove the salts, slowly we can get free from salt problems. And sixth, cropping. Grow the crops which having the tolerant capacity in problem soils. For example, salt tolerant crops like sugar cane, barley and oats should be grown. And seventh, addition of organic manure. Addition of organic manure in sufficient amount will provide drainage in heavy soils and improves water holding capacity of poor soils. So, these measures can be followed for the improvement of problematic soils. Till now we studied about soil. Now we will study about climatic conditions. Climate also is a factor that affects the crop growth and productivity. As we all know, Indian agriculture is largely dependent on climatic conditions. The changing weather scenario affects the yield and quality of crop plants, and one should find the ways to tackle the problems of such weather effects. Different parameters of climate have direct and indirect effect on growth and yield of crop plants. Especially in India, climate plays an important role in agriculture production. Weather and climate. Weather refers to the state or condition of atmosphere at a given place at any given time, denoting the short-term variations of atmosphere in terms of temperature, pressure, wind, moisture, cloudiness, precipitation and visibility. It is highly variable, constantly changing, sometimes from hour to hour and at other times from day to day. Weather pertains to a smaller area like village, city and a smaller duration of time. Where climate is a generalized weather or summation of weather conditions over a given region during a comparatively longer period. it may be defined as the sum of all statistical weather information of a particular area like zone, state, country, etc. during a specified interval of time like month, season, year, etc. And usually climate is referring for the several decades. The World Meteorological Organization has suggested a standard period of 31 years for calculating the climatic averages of different weather elements. Here to study the difference between weather and climate. First one point, weather is the condition of the atmosphere in a specific place at a given point in time. These atmospheric conditions may take place day by day, minute by minute or seasonally. While in case of climate, it is the average weather conditions over a place and it mostly take place for long term period of 30 years. Second, weather may involve just one condition of the atmosphere, while climate includes all the conditions of the atmosphere such as temperature, precipitation, wind, humidity, cloud and pressure. And third, weather occurs in a place within a short time, while climate takes place over a long period of time. Fourth, weather is what you get on a daily basis, while in case of climate, it is what you expect over a long time. And fifth, weather changes within a short time, and in case of climate, the overall changes and variations of a climate are very stable and may take decades or centuries to occur. And sixth, the scientific study of weather is called meteorology, and meteorologists study weather. In case of climate, the scientific study of climate is called climatology. A climatologist studies climate subject. Now to study factors affecting weather and climate. First one is latitude. Based on latitude, the climate has been classified as first one tropical climate. The tropical climate is characterized by high temperature throughout the year. Second is subtropical climate. Subtropical climate is also characterized by high temperature alternating with low temperature in winter. And third, temperate climate. The temperate climate has low temperature throughout the year. And fourth, polar climate. The polar climate is noted for its very low temperature throughout the year. And second factor is altitude, which is also known as elevation. The height from the mean sea level creates variations in climate. Even in the tropical regions, the high mountains have temperate climate. The temperature decreases by 1.8 degrees Celsius for every 300 meters from the sea level. Generally, there is a decrease in pressure and increase in precipitation and wind velocity. The above factors alter the kinds of vegetation, soil types and the crop production. Third factor is precipitations, means rainfall. The quantity and distribution of rainfall decides the nature of vegetation and the nature of the cultivated crops. The crop regions are classified on the basis of average rainfall. The areas having the rainfall less than 500 millimeters comes under climate of arid zone, and the zones having the rainfall 500 to 750 millimeter annually comes under semi-arid climatic zone, and the areas having rainfall of 750 to 1000 millimeters comes under subhumid zone climatic region, and the areas having rainfall annually more than 1000 millimeters comes under climate zone of humid zone. Fourth factor is soil type. Soil is a product of climatic action on the rocks is modified by landscape and vegetation over a long period of time. The color of the soil surface affects the absorption, storage and re-radiation of heat. White color reflects while the black absorbs more radiation. Due to differential absorption of heat energy, variations in temperature are created at different places. In black soil areas, the climate is hot, while in red soil areas it is comparatively cooler due to lesser heat absorption. Fifth factor is temperature. It is one of the important factors limiting the climatic conditions and the growth of crops. Each crop has its own range of temperature, like its minimum, maximum, and optimum temperature for growth. Crops either die or cease their growth when the temperature is very high or very low. On the basis of temperature, the world is divided in 6 temperature zones. Like first one is tropical, second is temperate, third is microthermal, fourth is taiga, fifth is tundra, and sixth is perpetual frost. Crops are classified broadly as warm or cool weather crops. Sixth factor is nearness to sea. The presence of large water bodies like lakes and sea affect the climate of the surrounding areas, like islands and coastal areas. The movement of air from Earth's surface and from water bodies to Earth modifies the climate. The extreme variations in temperature during summer and winter is minimized in coastal areas and islands. Seventh factor is topography. The surface of landscape, which may be leveled or uneven surface, produces marked changes in the climate. This involves the altitude of the place, steepness of the slope, and exposure of the slope to light and wind. Eighth factor is vegetation. Kind of vegetation characterizes the nature of climate. Thick vegetation is found in tropical regions where temperature and precipitations are high. General type of vegetations present in a region indicate the nature of climate of that region. So these were the factors which affects the weather and climate. So this presentation was all about soil and climate. Hope this will be very helpful to all of you. Now my presentation ends here. I have given here my YouTube channel details, Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it, and provide your kind and valuable feedback for further improvements in next coming presentations. Thank you.